Brett Okamoto in New York City alongside Michael Chandler, who takes on Charles Oliveira at UFC 309. And we are at sort of the Partners Media Day here, 5 days away from the fight. And usually they try to keep opponents away from each other. Today it just so happened that Charles Oliveira is standing about 20 feet to our right. I mean, you're no stranger to this, obviously, but when you walk into a room like that, and do you feel his presence? Are you aware of him?
No, not really. I'm actually a little disappointed I haven't got to say hi to him yet. I mean, me and Charles are respectful, man. We don't have to hate each other to go out there and keep you on the edge of your seat and make people buy a pay-per-view. Our track records speak for themselves, and I wish him the best, man. I'm happy he's here. Happy we're showing up, and we're happy we're going to get it done.
Yeah, what is this fight? I mean, you fought in New York before. You've put on some heck of a shows. Obviously, the whole thing with Conor McGregor over the last 2 years. Now you're facing a guy who you came up short with in a championship fight.
Yep.
Kind of what feels like is on the line here?
Everything. I mean, I think every fight is the biggest fight of your life, but this one especially. I mean, this one is my last chance at a second chance, I think, right? I get an opportunity to become the #1 contender with a win over Charles Oliveira. I'll be the highest ranked guy, not named Arman Sarukian or Islam Makhachev. I will fight for the title next when I get my hand raised on Saturday night. So that's what's on the line. When I got into the sport at 22, I wanted to be champion. I wanted to be known as the #1 guy in the world, and I can't do that without beating Charles Oliveira on Saturday night. And the stage is set, the biggest stage we could have possibly asked for, Madison Square Garden, a redemption story for me, a kid from the favelas who built his way up to a champion. Both guys are fight of the night, fight of the year material, and I'm going to go out there and get my hand raised.
Is it, hearing you say that, is it a different mindset going into this fight than maybe, obviously, if you would have been fighting Conor, or even some of your previous fights? Because it feels like, not that you weren't trying, of course, to win those fights, but also
step in early or not so early, whatever it is, it's just the way it is. More than anything, I just know I'm a better man and a better fighter than I was at UFC 262, and take nothing away from Charles whatsoever. He had his time. He's already been champion. Michael Chandler's about to be champion in 2025, and that's what I truly believe.
Is there any arena in the world better to walk out to than Madison Square Garden?
Madison Square Garden with the stars and stripes draped over me, Donald Trump in attendance. It doesn't get any better than that. Fighting for the #1 contender spot does not get any better than that. It's a dream come true. It really is, and I'm relishing in it, and I'm excited to compete.
So in that moment, if you hurt Charles Oliveira, but you got this sharp, now crisp Michael Chandler, you think you're going to be able to stick to that, or do you think the moment could bring out that, I don't want to say reckless, but that guy? You know,
no, it's okay. You can say reckless. Yeah. You can say silly. You can say too aggressive. You can say ill-advised decisions. All of that has been part of who I am, and it's also why I'm a fan favorite. It's also why, people buy my pay-per-views. People are on the edge of their seats. People are excited about this comeback because of that. And it's also, it's not even necessarily the fighting. It's what they feel. It's actually what they feel when they see a guy run face first, head first into the unknown. It's part of the human spirit, and that's why people like my fight style. But yeah, when I get him hurt, I will finish him this time. It'll be more calculated. It'll be more crisp. 2 years older, well, I guess three, almost 4 years older than the last time I fought Charles, and 3 or 4 times better for sure.
I'm sure you don't care about this, but I find myself curious with all of the ties that you and Conor had over the last 2 years. You expect to hear from him this week? Obviously, he's going through a civil trial in Ireland right now. But do you expect him to enter the chat at any moment this week?
We'll see. I mean, he'll probably hear from me for sure when I rip off a promo at the end of the fight. Probably should have kept that secret, but we'll see. Yeah, we got something planned. I'm sure Conor's name will get brought up. I mean, Chandler versus McGregor, we are tied together for the rest of our lives, whether we fight or we don't fight. And I do believe if he comes back, he wants to right that wrong of pulling out of TUF 31, pulling out of June 29th, UFC 303. Because I think, as I've said before, I think he's more romantic about the sport than people give him credit for. If he can get his house in order and get focused and he comes back to the UFC, that fight has to happen. So I'm sure he'll enter the chat.
Okay. Well, my last question then. You did just spill the beans a little bit, but I don't think you're going to surprise anybody that you might have something to say to Conor McGregor afterwards. Why? Why do you feel like you have something to say to him after you beat a guy like Charles Oliveira, you get a #1 contender spot? Why do you feel like he needs to be addressed in that moment?
Just because we have unfinished business. We've got unfinished business, but I mean, ultimately, yeah, the #1 goal, my sights set are becoming the #1 guy in the world. That's not fighting Conor next. After Oliveira, I'd fight Islam, Arman, whoever has the title. I will be cage side wherever that fight is, whenever that fight is, to see who my next opponent is. But the sport moves fast, and there's a lot of moving parts, and there's injuries, and there's ups and downs, and there's crazy things happening all the time. So me and Connor are tied together. Me and Charles Oliveira are going to tie one on this weekend. And in a couple months, whenever the Islam versus Arman fight is, my name will be tied to one of them. So Max Holloway, my name is tied to him as well. I mean, we're talking. If my plans come to fruition, it's going to be the greatest 4-fight run, the greatest 12-month run that anybody's ever seen at 38, 39 years old, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't what we expected for the last 2 years, but Madison Square Garden, Charles Oliveira, it's quite a story to come back to. And I do find myself wondering also, because you walk first, right? So when he walks out, you're going to have a lot of time in the octagon there. Donald Trump's going to be sitting cage-side. You're going to have a pre-fight chat with Donald, or are you think you're going to be too much in the zone?
I don't know. I think I'd like to think I'm going to be in the zone. I mean, it's going to be hard to see and feel Donald Trump's aura in the arena.
That's a long time.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
I've visualized it, a couple times now. I know I'm walking first. I'm wearing the blue. He's the higher ranked guy, so he will walk second. I'm just excited to hear my music. I'm excited to get in that octagon. I'm excited to feel the canvas on my feet. I'm excited to get back out there and compete, and I'm excited to give the fans what they want. My true supporters and my true fans who have been with me and stuck with me. I know it's been a while. But we're about to come back in a big way.
I'm excited too, man. You told John Jones that you'd be stealing the show. You have done that in this building before. So
that's the plan.
We'll
I ain't leaving no excitement. Sorry, John.
On Saturday night. Thanks for the time, man. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.